Alright guys, what's up? So I'm going to be showing you today how to clean your linkage. So you're first going to want to remove, on a KTM, this is the same exact thing for any other bikes that you have. Just on a KTM, you're going to want to remove that bolt, and then all of the other bolts you need to remove are all on this side. So you have a 13 millimeter, you got a 17 and another 17, and then you have one right there underneath there. So you can take off all those bolts and then we'll get to cleaning. So here's also the tools you will need to start. You just need a 17 millimeter wrench, a 17 millimeter socket, a 13 millimeter, and a 10. And then just some regular screwdrivers and some simple green. Alright guys, so after you remove everything, your swing arm will sit all the way down to the ground, and then you'll have your bolts, your linkage. So we'll get to taking off the seals and the bearings, and then we'll take it over to the sink, clean all the old grease out and re-grease it. So after you have all the rods out and the seals, you'll be able to see inside. If you're watching this video, you're pretty much going to need to do this, and you'll see that there's kind of barely any grease. Mine has a little bit of grease inside there, but it's time to be done. I would usually do this every 30 to 35 hours is a good amount. And then with the dog bone, you just have this one rod. There's no seals. Don't pop out those seals. You just push that straight to the other side. So I wouldn't really recommend taking this to the sink, because all of those little things, those needles would fall out. So I would just use a paper towel and some contact cleaner and try to clean all around what you can, and then you can take these to the sink with some simple green and some Scotch-Brite, and then I'll show you that. Alright, so after you have the bearings out and you just kind of wipe up around, I wouldn't put the paper towel inside there because it would knock those out again. I would just wipe up around it, try to get as much of the dirt out as you can. And then we'll take these over to the sink and clean them up with some simple green. Okay, so after you get to the sink, you basically just want to take all your bolts, take some hot water, rinse them off, throw a little soap, kind of just clean them up all the way. And then I'll take some simple green, spray some simple green, and then I'll take some Scotch-Brite too. You can spray some simple green on that, and it'll just help get all that old grease off. And then after you're done to rinse all that stuff off, I would put it on a clean towel so you can take it back over to the bench. Alright, so I got all the parts cleaned up. When I say clean, I also cleaned the bolts, the actual nuts, because sometimes they'll come loose with all the grease. Cleaned up my chain slider, just for the heck of it. Alright, so we're going to put them together. You're going to want to dry them off with a cloth. There's a little bit of water on them. You don't want water. We'll grease them, put them all back in, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so after you got everything dried off, you're just going to want to start with this one. You can just grab some grease. I just like to use Maxima grease. Take a dot of grease, throw it in there, and kind of just like work your finger around it. Make sure none of the little needles come out like they just did right now. Great. If they come out, you can kind of just find where they put them and just kind of push them back in. Most of them will just go back in. So when you're putting the grease in, just push it around and make sure you keep that pressure all the way to when you slide your finger out. Because if you don't keep that pressure, the little needles will actually come with your finger, and that's how they kind of come out. So you just want to keep that pressure all around inside there. And after you feel like it's got plenty of grease, you can grab the main tube, throw a pretty good amount of grease on that, grease it all up, and kind of twist it inside there, throw it around, turn it back and forth, make sure the grease gets everywhere, and then you can grab your seals, the metal seals. That's the wrong one. It's this one. Push it in, come to the other side, grab the seal and push it in. So that's the process. You're basically just going to repeat on all the other ones, and then I'll show you when you put it back together. Alright, so after you got all your bearings in and your seals, we'll kind of just clean up the edges with a paper towel from all the excess grease, and then you can take all of your bolts. Take a little bit of grease and just lightly grease your bolts, because these parts will be moving and you don't want them to seize and you want them to move freely. So you'll just take your bolts, throw a light coat of grease, and you can grease your threads a bit. And after your threads are greased, we could start putting this back inside the bike, and you'll just grab the bolts, put the linkage back in how you took it out, and tighten everything up. Alright guys, so got everything put back together, put on the chain slider,